Good morning, and thank you for joining us for the Sales and Marketing Fri.Talks. Every second Friday, we are sharing insights, best practices, and anecdotes from technology companies. And today, our guest is Gints Mednis, Head of the Business Development at Sonarwork, who will share his story of building a global partner channel. So welcome, Gints.
Thank you for having me.
Great.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah. So Gint, first, please maybe share what Sonarwork is about and what is your great product actually helping people do.
Yeah, so Sonarworks is a software company, and we have developed technology how to correct the sound in the room and on the headphones. So it's a long story, and today's conversation is not about the acoustics. So suffice to say that our product is a software product suited for professionals who are using who are working in the studios, recording studios, mixing, mastering studios. So that's one part of our business, the pro audio business. The second half of our business is consumer technology, where we are licensing our technology for use in other products, in consumer products. So for today, we are focusing on the pro audio business, on our software sales. And also a little bit about the size of the company. We are currently 83 people in the company, and we have approximately 70,000, now probably by now around 75,000 monthly active users in the pro audio segment. So roughly that size.
So Gints, does it mean that your product is a subscription product, or it's one-time purchase? Can you
No, actually,
that a bit?
Yeah, it's a perpetual license. Yeah, we are selling a perpetual license, and we have several SKUs to do that. We have a so-called headphone edition, a bit cheaper at 99 euros. We have a boxed version or the download-only version for that, and we have the full suite or the studio version, which also includes the measurement microphone. So it's the software bundled up with the measurement microphone in the same box. So these are two main products for this segment.
Okay, and can you give a sense of how much does it cost? Like for
$299. Yeah, $299 is the big one, and $99 is the headphone only. So these are the two main products. We have a few more, but for today's conversation, we can focus on these two. One a little bit cheaper, and one a little bit more expensive at $300 roughly. And both of these products are available as download only and also as a boxed version, as a physical product too.
Okay. Can you tell a bit about starting point? I know you are now a growing company, I think one of the hottest startups in Latvia, but how did it start? I know you are working 3-4 years at Sonarworks.
Yeah, roughly 4 years. Sonarworks has existed for longer than that. So I joined the company at a stage where the Sonarworks has finished the technology design and they finished the productization of the first product, right? So roughly after 3 or 4 years of existence, Sonarworks has understood how to package this technology into a product that is really demanded and suited for a wide audience. So that is roughly the time when I joined the company, and that was 4 years ago, almost 4 years ago.
Okay, so basically, if I get you right, the company already has achieved, let's say, product market fit, and you came at the moment when company thought, okay, it's the right time to scale out to international markets, really pick up the sales and
yeah, that's a very good summary. That's exactly what happened in the first years of when company started working on this product. They made those hit and miss approaches, right? We had the reference 1, reference 2, and then we had reference 3, which was almost a perfect product market fit. And then around that time I joined because Sonarworks decided that it is time now to really scale up, and we need to start to build a channel business. So we need to establish a global dealer and distributor channel.
And basically that was something that you were tasked to do. Basically, go out, find a way to build a partner channel. Can you talk a bit about how did you start? I mean, how on earth do you build the partner channel from scratch? How do you get, let's say, your first or first 2 partners? Can you talk about that a bit?
Well, when I joined, there were already a couple of partners in place, so I wasn't starting from the blank page. But in terms of sales volumes, everything was super low. We were really starting out, and the challenge in these kinds of scenarios is when you don't have unlimited time. You really need to scale fast, because if you are a venture financed technology startup, you don't have the luxury of many years to build up the channel at a kind of comfortable pace. You really need to do it very quickly and very efficiently. So that was the biggest problem which I faced. And there are two ways how I was doing that. And let's call one of these approaches like the active approach, and the other one the passive approach. So one of the first hypotheses that I thought we could do is that pro audio business is quite limited in size. So we can actually enlist all of the dealers that are a notable size in pro audio business in one Excel sheet. It's doable. It's less than 1,000 companies around the world. So that's what we did. First, we compiled a long sheet of the organizations that would potentially be our partners. And we prepared physical materials for them. We made brochures and envelopes, and very well made too. We really designed, we put a lot of effort into that. We made really nice looking materials to stand out among the crowd, to differentiate ourselves among competing brands, so that kind of to really kind of propel the whole partnership really quickly. That was the hypothesis. And I hired the person who would be dedicated to do that. And we reached out to approximately 560 organizations in roughly half a year's period. So we sent them physical mails, we called, we emailed, and we did all the classical cold approach stuff. And the result of this approach, which I will call the passive approach, is very limited. So it's not a zero result. It was quite successful in the end. We had quite a good number of partners, but definitely not the best way to build up a channel quickly. So what we did instead, we focused our efforts on the second way how to attract partners, and that is by network. And the best way how to build up a channel globally, and I'm very convinced on that, is if somebody refers you. So you start from some point where you have good business relationships, and then you spread out. So you network in all the trade shows, you go to their partner events that they are organizing, and you basically establish your personal network. And if one of your existing business partners refers you positively to the others, this is the fastest way how to scale. Now, if we have the pro audio industry, which is quite limited in size, basically everybody knows everybody in the end. So it's quite possible to do this scaling via network. So we have tried several approaches, and I would say that this one is the most successful way how to partner up. That said, it doesn't guarantee the success by itself. There are still some other prerequisites how to do that, which I will talk about later. But essentially, networking is the number one, is the best way how to scale the network real quick.
But can you sorry, Andrejs, go ahead.
Yeah, what I was wondering, you are a relatively newcomer to the market, right? And you came already to maybe established market. You had some competitors working for many years already there. So you mentioned that you wanted to stand out and to really differentiate yourself. How did you do that? What were key drivers for your differentiation to attract those partner attentions so that they can really come and start cooperating with you?
Yeah, that's a very, very valid question. It's probably the most important question, how to differentiate ourselves. Yeah. So as a technology startup, I believe that for a successful, really quickly growing technology startup, the first prerequisite is that you need to have a product that speaks for itself. You need to have a really good product. You cannot improve on the existing market offering by a marginal amount. If your product is substantially better than the rest, that kind of pre-qualifies you to be a tech startup at all. So, but let's assume that we have it. Let's assume that we have this really revolutionary product in place. Then the next thing that I suggest to do is to view your offer to the market from perspective of a model that I call BRAT. So the BRAT model. There are four important aspects. B is for brand, R for revenue, A for activity, and T is for trust. So whenever we make decisions about how we go to market, we view these decisions from these four aspects. What does it mean from these four aspects? So let me elaborate on that. So brand, for us as a new company, the brand is still almost non-existent, really. So it's very young. We need to prove ourselves, and the brand value therefore is low. So we score low points in terms of brand. Let me give you an example. So if we take a look at Apple and Samsung dealerships, they work at very low margins, and they are quite happy to do so. Nobody is complaining about low Apple margins, and they're still are not. They're not stopping business with Apple. They're still continuing to do so, even though the margins are really low. And why is that? Because the brand value is so high, the customer pull demand is so high that it's fine. For us as a new tech startup, we don't have this luxury. So we need to really invest into our brand quality, visibility, so that it's something to consider. The second aspect is revenue aspect. Again, very similar. If you don't score high points on the brand value, you need to score higher points on the revenue aspect. So it means you need to give a bit deeper discounts to your partners in order to actually justify the cooperation. So we took that into account as well. We are offering very attractive margins to our partners, as well as exclusivity, limited exclusivity in their territories, because the partners, of course, they are also investing into your business. They need to hire a person as a brand manager for your brand. They need to drive around and recruit dealers in their territories if they are a distributor, etc. So in order to protect their investment, we are strictly keeping an exclusivity agreements in place. Our agreements do not include, obviously, we don't have the exclusivity in a legal agreement. We have it as a soft agreement, because we also have our direct online sales via our Shopify store. So we can't, have a legal exclusivity. But in practice, we are not placing our partners to compete with each other. So that's the second aspect, and that's the revenue aspect, right? So we are caring for our partners' revenue. Please.
Yes, Gints, a bit of a question. You mentioned about distributor, that a distributor, you want to have basically somebody who's managing your business, and distribution obviously is big business. But how does it look for, let's say, resellers or shall I say retailers? How does that business look to them? Because if you say your product costs 300 euros, I don't think they can afford the luxury of doing much more than keeping your product on shelf and perhaps having their sales personnel trained.
Yeah, that's an excellent question too. And shall we leave it after, because it's a bit it's a very interesting story, and let's leave it after this BRAT model. Okay. And then we can go into that. It's a very good question. So how does the retail situation now looks like from the dealer perspective? Yeah. No, but if we are returning to the third point, is activity. And activity means that in order to recruit our channel, we specifically created a program where we are demonstrating that we as a brand are helping out our dealers very much in all aspects. We are training their staff, we are bringing them materials, we are taking care of everything that we can in order to make their life very comfortable, easy to understand, easy to all the materials are available and easy to understand. Trainings are available. We are traveling to them. We are doing road shows in their name, etc. So that's also was important aspect why we succeeded so quickly. And the fourth and last one is trust. So, and what we mean by trust, we are always trying to establish relationships with our partners that are very open. There are no secrets being kept from each other. We are very openly sharing about how is business situation in our company, and they are sharing with theirs, etc. So that's a brief overview of the success criteria for the network building. Now, so shall we talk about this retail situation? Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So
question,
the answer
yes.
is that's an excellent question, especially because this is a question about how the retail landscape is actually changing in the past years. And it's really quickly moving from the physical retail into online retail. And that is probably across all the industries, and it includes pro audio industry. It's the same. So most of our retailers are now online sellers. In the beginning, in the early years of our network building, we put a lot of focus on physical stores and physical representation in the stores. We built the POS stands, POS materials to have a good brand visibility in the physical stores. But then we quickly learned that the share and impact of the physical retail is dramatically falling down. By now, we probably have 80%, maybe even more of our retail done online. The key dealers, the strongest dealers that we have globally for pro audio business are all online retailers. So that probably answers the question. How? Yeah, please.
And the following question. All right. Now you mentioned 80% of sales is moving online. Why do you need retailers if you can scale online sales delivery yourself from Riga?
Yeah, the delivery, you can't scale global delivery from Riga if your parcels are cheap. So we have, cheap parcels, 99 or 299. That is considered a cheap parcel. And we are selling them in volumes, thousands and thousands of units every month. So scaling these operations from the logistics in Riga is not a good idea. So we need a spread out delivery kind of network, the fulfillment network around the world. Amazon is a good choice, but Amazon comes with their own challenges instead. So it's not an obvious solution either.
All right, this relates to physical packaging and delivering parcels. But what about, what about online download? Because I understand the product is also available as online download.
Yeah, and that is exactly how our sales is being kind of in a natural way. The sales flow in that way, that the digital only products are mostly sold through our direct Shopify stores, and the physical products are mostly sold through our channel sales. Exactly.
Okay, and how do you see future of that? Do you see existing retail channel, let's say in 5 years, or everything will move online, and then you will perhaps consolidate channel to few very strong online retailers?
I think that we can take a look at Shanghai and Beijing as the kind of 2 or 3 years future for the retail. The physical retail remains as a display place, and for pro audio business, we do need a display kind of the showrooms, right? Our products are very often, they are being sold in tandem with headphones and speakers, and people, they want to check them, they want to listen to them before they buy. So kind of physical retail will always have its place in our future business too. But it's gonna be increasingly more, it will take the role of a showroom rather than a fulfillment kind of fulfillment channel. And most of the business will and continue to be online. That's for sure. Also, one more tendency that we can see, which is related to that, is that it's quite often that we see that the brands, especially strong brands, they are going direct to the customer. Yeah, so instead of 2-tier channel model, now they increasingly more, they are trying to build single-tier models in their key territories.
Right.
And of course, the success criteria there, not everybody can do that. You need to have some certain size in order to have the economy of scale to do that. For us as a small company, I don't see that coming anytime soon.
Right. So, Gint, we have a couple of questions here from the audience. First of all, the question from Vytautas, who is asking, what is your revenue margin for partners? If you can disclose such information.
I can disclose that. Yeah. So it's the standard margins for a pro audio business, and it applies for both physical and software products too. It varies between 50 to 35% discount from the list. It depends on the company. So it's quite big, right? So it's a hefty margin, and the dealer margins are lower. But normally, all the brands are trying to keep dealers satisfied by providing at least 30% guaranteed markup for them. So in terms of discounts, it's lower.
So another question, maybe from my side, you mentioned about this importance of physical meetings and direct engagement with the partners, building relationships, and mostly your partners came through these networking activities. But same time, when it comes to the global scale, is it still the main vehicle for you, or do you run also any other activities, in order to reach out, maybe broader channel?
That's a really good question too. Yeah, it's really, I really like this question because so essentially for us, we have already finished building the channel on a large scale. So for most part, we are already done. Now we are going, instead of trying to go wide, we are going deeper into the territories that we already have with the partners. But we do have other partnership programs still in place. We have industry partnership program. We have education partnership program, which are still being actively built. And from these partnership programs, what I have learned is that setting up a really good, high quality kind of partner lead generation system is essential. It's because the world is a really large place. And if you are a small company and you don't have an army of salespeople, the only way how you can really succeed and in a fast manner is to get a really good pull demand coming in, so that the leads are actually coming to you. And you can only afford to work with qualified leads. Yeah. Remember that story earlier that we tried this cold approach and it was very limited success. So that is exactly the point. We think that you need to set up a really high quality lead generation system that will allow you and your salespeople to only work with the already pre-qualified companies. And that is especially relevant in the situations where the network, the addressable market, is very wide. For example, like in our education program, when we are working with the universities, there is hundreds and hundreds of them, so we can't even approach in a quick manner. Right? So we have this system in place, and we are receiving automatic emails about these pre-qualified leads coming in. And what we also see is that these leads are coming in at a kind of seasonal. They have these peaks coming in, and these peaks are coinciding with all kinds of important events like new product launches, trade shows. Some milestones are happening, and then we have these peaks of new partners reaching out to us. So yeah.
Okay, so just to summarize what you are saying, if I understood you right, so basically one thing is to build a system which is on the background, always on mode, just generating you qualified leads, so you can really always get like new leads incoming. But secondly, you definitely need to do something with your brand, with your product awareness and the activities around that, so which actually drives demand also from the market, so which then again creates demand from partner channel to you, right?
Yeah, it's a good summary. Yeah.
Okay, very good. So we have a couple of other questions from Anthony and from Tom's. Both of them are asking about the exclusivity. How do you manage this? Geographically based, especially for the online sales, and for how long time do you give this exclusivity? Could you maybe disclose any details here?
Yeah, I can. It's So essentially, you can't put this exclusivity into your dealership or distributor agreements because it will have a problem. Inside the European Union, you technically can do that. It's legally allowed, but it's a very kind of, you really need to understand what you're doing. Otherwise, you will run into legal problems. So long story short, when you're working with exclusivity, this exclusivity is always a gentleman's agreement type of exclusivity. It's not legally enforced. Especially in our case, where we have a lot of cross-border trade and we have our Shopify store shipping in all the countries around the world, so we can't even guarantee that. And the exclusivity is generally we have our agreements running on yearly evergreen basis. So we negotiate our term sheets and business plans with the partners for the year in the beginning of the year, and then we do it again and again every year after. It automatically extends the agreements. It automatically extends the territory assignments. However, these are of course not officially legally enforced. So that's one thing. The second thing is that I wanted to say that exclusivity is really industry dependent. For us, a Prodia industry, it's a very small place. It's a small industry. It's a small vertical. So we can actually, and we also have to, enforce these country by country exclusivities. So, for example, if distributor is working only in Benelux, then we have kind of gentleman's agreement that we are not giving them more contracts in Benelux. But of course, we can't guarantee cross-border trade because it's legally allowed, etc.
Right.
So that is about exclusivity. Most important thing about exclusivity is, I think that it gives them this trust. The last letter in this BRAT model, the trust, so that they trust that their business is not going to be jeopardized by sudden moves from the vendor side, from our side. So that is the kind of the essence of that exclusivity. I don't know if that satisfies the question.
I hope so. Yes.
Yes. One question I wanted to ask, Gints, you mentioned brand, and I can say, I mean, I'm not in professional audio, but I'm like an audio consumer. But I have noticed that you indeed have very, very, very strong, very efficient PR machine. Can you talk? I know it's not your area of responsibility, but can you talk a bit about that? Because if we look at Sonarworks as a tech company, I think it really stands out by the brand, by this buzz, by awareness, which is created by PR, which I believe helps you also enormously.
Yeah. Well, I can only give compliments, your compliments to our marketing director. And she's very professional. She's doing a good job. Most of our PR activities are outsourced, of course. We are a small company and we have a lot of outsourced resources for that. So that's the answer. We choose very high quality PR agencies and have a good management of them.
This is also like a very good note what you just mentioned about the how do you handle all these responsibilities internally, and many companies what we also sometimes talking to, they kind of somehow hesitate to involve external people to work for them. Like they say, oh, we better do it internally, and they because of that also like struggle to grow. And if I understood you right, so that you are leveraging a lot the external resources and cooperation with the agencies, with some other vendors and so on. Is it true for you?
It's very true. Yeah, we are trying to keep the resources internally where it matters, namely product teams, R&D teams. This is
like a core, right?
It is the core of a tech company for sure. Whereas sales activities, for example, we are doing all the global business with a team of 4 people. That's it. We don't have more, and we are outsourcing this, and that's why we are keeping a 2-tier channel model. Yeah, so because it allows us to avoid any dealer management. We are giving all the rights to the distributors, and they are taking care of the large dealer base. Even though we have approximately 40 direct partners, we have more than 300 dealers worldwide where you can buy Sonarworks. So it kind of, we are outsourcing the sales activities to the hands of our distributors. So that is correct. We are outsourcing everything that is outsourceable, but we are keeping the core technology and the product competence inside.
Okay, so here is another comment from Anthony, who is actually asking about the partnership in India, but I assume that probably it's better to take it directly with him, or you want to maybe address it right away.
Pardon? I was reading the last question. Yeah. So.
Yeah, the question was about if you have any partners in India. And
so that's the same question I was reading as well. Yes, we do have partners in India. Thank you, Anthony, for asking. We have quite a lot of partners in India. Our distributor in India is quite good, and we are happy with their performance. And they have quite a number of dealers. I don't know exactly how many dealers we have in India, but I did a dealer training webinar last week, and we had 30 dealers attending. So probably more than that.
Okay, so very good, very good. Any other questions before we wrap up today's Fri.Talk? If no, I would like to really thank you, Gints, for coming today and talking to us and sharing your best practices and learnings. And for all others, I invite you for the next Fri.Talk, which will take place in 2 weeks from now, as we're keeping it on every second week in LinkedIn. And for this next meeting, we will have Andrei Burlutsky, head of marketing and master of code global, who is actually the company which is providing conversational AI solutions at global scale. They have offices in United States, Canada, Ukraine, and they really help global companies to evolve daily in the fast changing world with help of artificial intelligence capabilities. So join us next time, and we will be talking about how to win businesses on global battlefield with the help of differentiation tactics and specifically on the using product uniqueness. So thanks a lot for watching and being with us, and talk to you next time.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Gints. I have a feeling we will want to invite you back, because what you say, I find it very, very insightful, and I think also listeners can learn indeed a lot. So thank you once again, and see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Bye.